Podcast starts now. What's up, everyone? I'm being completely normal, and George is treating me like I'm being insane.
Hi.
I am not looking at anything else but the screen.
Okay, cool. There was I think it might not have been intentional, but the vibe of you started a sentence and it was almost like you were in the middle of like doing emails and someone called you and you were like, so we're here, it's Sunday. Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
it seemed like you were scrolling or something.
This is so messed up.
I'm sorry.
Podcast starts now.
No.
Welcome.
Oh my God, we are not keeping this in. Anyway, what's up? How's your Sunday? It's dark.
It's dark where you are?
It's fully dark where I am. You know, it's tough. It's tough, these things that everyone talks about every year. You know, daylight savings, holiday depression, blah, 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 because you want to be above it. You know, you want to be like, sure, that's what normies talk about. That's small talk topics. You know, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the state of democracy. I want to talk about the state of, you know, the complete failure of the global art market. I want to talk about things that matter. Mm-hmm. But of course, you know, if it's getting dark at 3:30 p.m., you're going to want to talk about that. That's not normal.
I actually think it speaks to how poor our memories are, because the way that it happens every single year, and every single year I'm like, this is unethical. Mm-hmm. This is wrong. This needs to be stopped. And like, there's no way it was this bad last year. And yet I know I'm pretty sure it is always the same.
No, it's always the same.
But every year I think it's an injustice that can be stopped.
But isn't it beautiful that we get to have that sense of childlike wonder? I actually would prefer this sort of like the performance of, you know, getting into the holiday spirit, but also having a little melancholy because of the weather, and talking about holiday travel and talking about gift giving, and then suddenly it's January and you're like, oh God, I have seasonal depression. There's something. It's like, what are you going to do? Not let things affect you and just go through life dead-eyed, looking straight ahead?
I mean, but I think there should be a limit in this life to how many times I can be affected and surprised.
No, it's true. Because the more you're affected by just the passing of time, the less energy you have to actually be affected by more interesting things.
Yeah, I'm feeling persecuted.
Why?
I'm feeling persecuted. You know, it's just one of those days where I can't do anything right. Look, I can't do anything right.
You were talking about this before. You're having a day.
I am having a day. Yeah, I keep doing this thing. So I was around children last week for the holiday. And I was like, you know, when you're around kids and you're like, oh no, I'm a child as well. Like, oh no, they're like little outbursts are like literally what I do on any given day. Like, there was a point where, like, you know, the 3-year-old is like, I don't want chips. I don't want Cheez-Its. I don't want goldfish. And it's like, what do you want? And they're like, food. And it's like, and I'm like, damn, I literally do that. Like, I'm doing that right now. Like now I'm thinking
like
about
me like ordering takeout and being like, I just want something good. And then Matthew's like, do you want Thai? Do you want Mexican? Do you want Chinese? And I'm like, no.
And like, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do after this recording, and the way that genuinely nothing will make me happy. Like, as soon as this recording is done, there is nothing that I can do that I will enjoy. So that's an awesome feeling.
This is quite literally why why we all have to have kids and have a traditional family, because then what happens is you're an adult in your 30s and you are like overanalyzing which specialty drink would make you happier in order to like pump some energy into your afternoon. Like it literally, and this is at the center of why, you know, people think, quote unquote, millennials are narcissistic. This is at the center of why people think that people that live in LA are out of touch. It's like, it all comes down to just like, okay, so you get to that point where you're in your early or mid 30s, unless there's something else that comes into your life that you have to take care of, all you have is specialty drinks.
You're really trying. You're on this new kick where you're trying to make a case for children in sort of a roundabout, interesting way.
No, I see what you're saying, and I actually, children to me is a symbol of something bigger. It's like if it's not children, then it should be, then it could be like founding a company. If it's not founding a company, then it can be, God forbid, taking care of an ailing family member. But there is some new responsibility that has to come into your life at this stage. Otherwise, you lose your mind, and that's where like a midlife crisis comes from.
I hear what you're saying. So what you're saying sort of is like, you will be unhappy regardless. So stop trying to chase your joy and start like having some responsibilities. So you actually have a reason to be unhappy.
I don't even think it's having a reason to be unhappy. I think it's limiting the amount of time you can dedicate to just freewheeling thought, because there's only so many places your brain can go. And of course, the ideal thing is being, an urban intellectual, childless urban intellectual who's independently wealthy, and you have the discipline to fill your time with books, documentary film, multiple memberships to repertory theater and cinema around the city and all this stuff, going to the ballet. Yes, like in an ideal world, you have the discipline to fill your time with things that matter, but that just is not realistic for most of us.
I have that discipline.
You do?
I have that discipline.
Sam, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it today.
George, but you're missing the big picture here.
Yeah.
There's context. Of course, it's a Sunday after a holiday week.
I see.
I am returning to the office. I'm feeling the crash, the lack of freedom. The public intellectual wouldn't have to worry about work tomorrow. The public intellectual could go to the ballet and even like, let's get a cocktail afterwards because c'est la vie. Because all I have to do is get to the gym tomorrow by 11, and then I have a lunch meeting at 1, and then I can spend the afternoon following my thoughts until I go to the theater again. And I have this there's such a time limit, and I'm like, I might as well be at work right now because
I see what you're saying.
It's already here.
And I want to apologize publicly because I am only now realizing you are in a state that I can't relate to, which is you were traveling for Thanksgiving and now you have the one day back before work. Whereas I didn't travel for Thanksgiving. I've basically just had like a very sort of chill staycation and, eating Thanksgiving leftovers for 3 days and going to a show last night. And like, it's been pretty cozy over here.
And not to be a bitch, I'm being such a brat. But like, we also traveled to Toronto. Like, it was like, this is like, we went to Toronto, then we went to Virginia, and then I'm back, and I'm like, when was my chill time except for
and
the time
now is work. Yes. I see.
So I'm being a brat.
Well, should we bring in our guest and maybe you can take it out on him?
Oh no. Look, I want to publicly apologize. I know how this is coming off, and it's not coming off glowing.
You do not have to publicly apologize.
He has to.
I do, because I know how people will hear this, and they would be right because it would be annoying to listen to. So with that,
I don't know. I disagree. I feel like now that we've contextualized it, like I think it's a very relatable feeling. The feeling of being in this liminal space between vacation and work, or between family time and home time.
Yeah. It's relatable, but it's also like, we're here to like be a little more playful than that, I feel, or something. It's also like, it's so relatable that it's like, yeah, you have a job, like grow up. Everyone does. Like, it's not something to like complain about. It's like, yeah, duh.
But I do think this goes back to my thing about either having kids or founding a business. Like that's how you escape that. That's how you escape the mundane nature of like problems, like cyclical problems like this.
Yeah.
Wait, let's bring in our guest though.
Okay.
Please welcome our dear friend Dash Turner.
Bitch, thank you. Also, why did you flee the country for Thanksgiving?
Wait.
No, we went to Toronto for a show, and then Sam from there went directly to Virginia to see his family for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
The way I'm being undermined.
No,
The day
everyone's being
after
every
Native
single
American Heritage
person.
Month ended.
Every single person is being undermined from all angles. It's actually
Right.
crazy. No one has the upper hand.
Right. Well, can I say also the way I've avoided any kind of ennui that
Yes.
Sam has described is I dedicated myself years ago to unlocking all of the good gun camos in Call of Duty. And that has provided me with a sense of, task fulfillment, goal fulfillment that has completely freed me from any need to have children or real responsibilities.
Okay,
These are the
so
things that you should be considering, bitch.
You have the self-discipline I was talking about, except it's for playing Call of Duty rather than attending the ballet.
Right. Did you go to the ballet last night? Was that the show you went to?
No, I went to Dina Martina.
Oh,
It's
fun.
Dina Martina.
Drag queen.
Oh.
She's a
Famous
famously
drag queen.
sort of a drag queen that transcends the binary of good versus bad. I was
Isn't
trying
that
to
every drag queen?
well, to some extent, but I was
I
trying
haven't seen
last
drag
night.
since 2013.
That's insane. What are you doing?
Well,
Playing Call of Duty.
yeah, right. Going to the skate park, playing paintball.
You have this thing where it's like you're ironically straight or something.
It's not ironic.
Well, do you want to speak on it slightly?
Yeah, speak on it. What the hell
Right.
is the deal?
Well, are you familiar with like the idea of terraformation? Like turning a foreign planet into kind of a livable space.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not even the right concept to describe this. I just think it's more fun and more chill.
You think
like
it's more fun and
straight
more chill
culture.
to be straight acting?
It's no, not. Am I straight acting?
No,
Do I
not straight
pass?
acting. Oh, okay. So
Bitch.
having straight interests.
Right. Well, the thing is also it's more fun. There's like I also am bad at theater, and that's pretty much everything kind of you guys do.
We're actually not in the theater part of gay culture,
Right.
believe it or
You're
not.
so adjacent to it, though.
So are
Well-
you, as a person who does comedy. What are you
what the
talking about?
hell? You literally are a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, you're.
But I'm
you're
doing
being
it in
such
kind of a
bitch.
thoughtful and almost like subversive way.
Right.
Right.
So you like skateboarding, baggy clothes, paintball, Call of Duty, reading, but like nonfiction books that are about war.
I'm reading one about RNA right now. Are you familiar?
Right, exactly.
I'm not familiar.
It's the messenger of the cell.
Oh, RNA. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
What did
I thought
think
you were
said?
saying. I thought you were saying like R and A, like it's some sort of like. I was imagining like a
No, I
financial
wouldn't do
book.
that.
Like,
Oh yeah, you're reading about M&A, about
Yeah.
mergers and
Oh,
acquisitions.
like rich
Yeah.
dad, poor dad.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, are you reading Freakonomics?
Yeah, exactly. The rich dad, poor dad guy is like in super prison, right? Or he like died. I think he got hard
Yeah, but he
canceled
thought
and-
of the phrase "rich dad, poor dad," and that's more than most of us can say. We've said this before. I can't remember if we said it at the live show or whatever, but like for nonfiction books, if you just come up with a good title or even a good subtitle, you should get a Nobel Prize. Like the
Yeah.
fact that someone came up with Freakonomics and it's about how economic models are not sufficient, it's like that's genius.
Yeah.
The book could be empty, and it would
and
it would fly off the shelves, and it would deserve to.
Essentially, yes, literally. Are you kidding me? The power of habit. Give that man $1 billion.
Hello, Dash. I want to. I'm like, does having Call of Duty genuinely stop the moodiness
The
from coming in?
existential dread.
A little bit because it allows you to shut your brain off, but you're still doing something. I think a lot of other things that allow you to shut your brain off is like scrolling social media. But you're not doing anything, and so ultimately the brain is able to almost overpower that and then
Yes.
circle back to ennui. Also, it's kind of like a reflection back into yourself because you can compare the people whose lives you're like viewing via all these apps back to your own and be like, oh, they're hotter than me. They're on more trips to Italy or whatever the fuck they do than me.
I
Well,
think this
everyone's
is a
on more trips to
really
Italy.
interesting. Okay, I think whether or not your brain is activated versus quote unquote shut off when you're on social media is an endlessly interesting question because yes, you are doing it as a way to like turn off your brain and massage your brain and be brain dead, if you will. But on the other hand, the stimuli, unlike in Call of Duty, the stimuli actually are activating like really bad parts of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
They're activating like annoyance, jealousy, even just like negative, the feeling you get when you look at a bad piece of art, just like negativity. And so there should be a social media that's where you're scrolling and it's just colors.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what Tumblr was.
But Do you think so? Because to me, Tumblr, you're scrolling and then suddenly you get a photo that's like a Sofia Coppola movie and it says a quote, but then you're like, I disagree with that quote. And then suddenly you're angry.
I just feel like I know what you're saying, like Tumblr, but it was the closest to that, I think.
Yeah.
It was like essentially like no one was like, this is my quote. Like it was like a Sofia Coppola quote. And it's like, sure, that's fun to see for a second. Next one.
Can I make a corrective?
Please.
George was so wrong, and you were also wrong. What actually
cool.
needs to happen with this social media platform is what is good about Call of Duty. You're tapping into the kill instinct. So you're like tapping on things. You're kind of
It's not passive.
no, it's not. It's active, and you're actually actively like harming other people.
So maybe the issue with social media is that you're almost like you become infuriated with your own passivity. Like any feeling you have of like annoyance, negativity, jealousy, it all boils down to I hate myself for being passive.
Dash, I want to ask, the downside to a Call of Duty though is like they're also causing harm to you. Like
Yeah, but it feels good. It's like acupuncture. Like they're trying to hurt you in acupuncture, but you become stronger for it.
because I have gotten into my online gaming eras. Specifically, I was extremely into playing Super Smash Bros. Online, and I was very competitive. And I would like
Who is your main?
Ganondorf, and I was like buck wild.
He's old.
Because he's old, and I would be so I would like get upset. Like when I would be doing well, I'd be like, this is awesome. And then if like someone was like beating me, and especially in a way that I felt was like not tactful, I would be so angry with them, and I would like, it would feel like injustice in the world.
Well, that's what I would always play as Kirby and just do down B over and over and over again, which turns him into like a brick that is like unbeatable. So
It's actually very beatable. You just put on your shield.
Oh, well, I was also 5 when I did that, and all my friends were 5. So they had not yet solved that. But also, I will say, don't you feel like the pain, like the negative feeling that you're feeling there almost kind of resets you back to like a healthy place? Like, don't you feel like you need the hurt?
The video game negative feeling?
Yeah.
I know you're saying, and sometimes
It's like a Tumblr quote where it's like you need to like experience like lows to understand the value of highs.
Sure.
well, it did teach me, the power of walking away. I think because it was like there were points where I was like, okay, you know what? I actually just have to accept that person beat me, and I have to move on and don't hit like rematch, because that's when it gets really, really nasty.
George,
Well,
have
it's
you
like
ever
gambling.
played a video game?
No, I don't know anything
Right,
about
I
what
was
you
going
guys
to
are
say they
talking
only
about.
have like abacuses or whatever in Greece, right?
No, they have video games. I can't play video games.
That's
I'm
good.
sorry.
That is good, and it's virtuous.
It's virtuous. Well, I do think it's like if you don't start them young, then you're not going to pick it up at 30.
It was always so alienating to me, and I don't mean like I do things that are way more harmful to me. It's not like
what?
I think.
Yeah, like what, bitch?
Like I definitely think scrolling social media is more harmful than playing Call of Duty, and I do that for hours at a time. I think
true.
that I often will like hate read things. Like I will intentionally read something that I know was written by someone I think is stupid, or someone I think is wrong, or someone I think has the wrong politics, almost as a form of self-harm, because I want to like see what's out there. And then I get into a hole where I'm like reading responses to it, and I'm like, well, those are also stupid. And it never results in like me writing something, or me not even writing something for public consumption, but even writing my thoughts down in like a journaling way. It's just like filling my head with negative thoughts. So it's not that I think I'm too good for video games. It's that I have to say, from when I was a kid, it was also alien. I would like try so hard to get into a video game, and I'd be like, this is not enjoyable.
Interesting.
It's like how I felt with sports, where I was like, why does everyone think it's fun to kick a ball around? I don't get it.
You're so gay. I love it.
Yeah, that's so
LGBT.
interesting.
And actually, I have to say, realizing later in life that I thought that all of us rejected video games, and it turns out I was wrong. All gay guys are secretly playing video games for 7 hours a day.
Literally.
Has been very disorienting, because I'm like, hello? I thought that was like sports. I thought we were all like felt alienated during kickball and wanted to go and, watch the movie Saved starring Mandy Moore.
Literally, if I didn't have video games growing up, I don't know how I would have socialized at all. Like, that was how That was like, you go to someone's house, they're like, do you want to play Mortal Kombat? You're like, yes. And that's like the only way I socialized.
Did you not do sports either?
I did sports, but I did like soccer growing up, and then I in high school transitioned into just like track, cross country, swimming. So
what
which
was your
I would
mile time?
I think I got to 5:02 at one point.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
But that was yeah. But I never broke 5, and I always wanted to.
It's never too late. It might be too late.
It's too late.
Wait, can we pivot back to hate reads really quick?
Yeah.
George, did you hate read the big one from last week? The Cormac
Which one was
McCarthy
that?
one?
Oh, no, because I was like, it's sort of less. So that was the people's disagreements with that was that it was just like stylistically awful and that he was like romanticizing Cormac McCarthy, like writing love letters to a 16-year-old, which of course I disagree with, but that's not going to necessarily scratch the itch I'm talking about. I'm more talking about like people like that I disagree with politically making an argument and then me reading it and being furious because I can imagine what I would say to them if we were on a debate stage.
So you're like on Bobby Jindal's like blog.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, maybe not that far, but basically.
Dash, I have a question.
You can be so real with me.
You said you wanted the villain edit. Do you feel like in a lot of social circles you're the villain, or do you just feel extra comfortable with us?
Actually the latter.
Really?
Wait, no. Well, I'm mean to a lot of people. So actually both.
Okay.
I think you being mean is sort of along the same lines of you liking straight things. Like it's sort of a way for you to be an edgelord. You're like looking me right in the eyes and saying, I'm reading a book about RNA, and you're tempting me to, to either make fun of you because of that or to like ask about it. And it's like, that's toxic. Like that is actually the equivalent of, Trump saying that, immigrants are evil or something, because it's like, it is setting me up for failure. I can't actually, if I debate that on his terms, he's already won.
Right. Is it that, or is it me trying to add an element of surprise to your life that is, I would say, otherwise kind of not being provided to us?
I think that's fair. I think you're saying that like in my life, there's a limited selection of activities someone I know could be doing at any given time.
Yes, exactly.
And reading a book about RNA is outside of that select collection of activities. So you're providing a new experience for me.
Yes. I think it makes life feel more rich when more people are doing more types of things. Like,
but here's my counterpoint to that.
Genres of music or
you're not coming at me and saying, did you know this fun fact about RNA that applies to something we're talking about? You're actually like looking me straight in the eyes and as a provocation saying, I'm reading a book about RNA, period.
Right. Wait, George, do you want to be provoked one more time?
Yes.
I realize the t-shirt I'm wearing today is actually Yanni's ethnicity album cover. So I'm kind of using your culture as my costume as well.
Wow.
Thoughts?
No, I actually love that.
It's kind of fun and surprising.
Think Yanni is like... at some point he was almost like a cultural punchline, and I think people have forgotten about him. So
well,
the more we can,
fuck too.
Sure, the more we can sort of raise awareness. I did not know he had an album called Ethnicity, by the way. That's iconic.
Yeah, he kind of went for it.
No, that's a big swing.
That's a great big swing.
Yeah,
it's like it's not actually offensive to anyone. It's just just funny to name your album Ethnicity.
Yeah.
Dash, what are your gay interests?
Yeah.
What are my gay interests? I like Madonna. I got really into music by Madonna earlier today. So that was big for me.
Oh, today?
A few hours ago.
Music, the song, or music, the whole album?
Music, the album. Don't Tell Me, obviously, was kind of the entry point.
Love Don't
Tell Me. A lot of
That's
stuff going on in there that I would say is worth a listen. I also had a huge Ray of Light phase a few years ago.
Well,
that was like the fourth or fifth time I had COVID. And I think it like triggered a form of psychosis that made me so much more amenable to Madonna's music.
Well, that's sort of how she entered her Ray of Light era, is the fourth or fifth time you do something, in her case, it was releasing an album, you enter a psychosis where you need, either Kabbalah or yoga or some other alternative spiritual practice. Yeah. And for you, it was listening to Ray of Light. And that is what guided you through the COVID experience.
Yeah.
And for her, yoga guided her through new motherhood, and of course her relationship with Guy Ritchie.
Has anybody seen her kid in like 20 years?
Which one? First of all,
She has multiple kids.
Madonna.
Sweetheart.
Okay, can I just say something? Because this is also part of your personality that I think is a provocation. Dash will literally look you like in your face and be like, "Who is Charlize Theron?"
It's kind of something I do more with George than other people.
But it's like your refusal to know. And the thing is, I can't be mad about it because actually the fact that you don't know Madonna has a million kids from like 5 different countries is good. There's no reason anyone should know that. I am not proud of myself for knowing that. It is just something that I have to know, just like I have to know that like Ronald Reagan was once president.
Right. Well, you have like arcane knowledge about older women.
In the way that many gay men do. I don't think I have it more than the average person in my demographic.
Right.
There was like that, I think the New York Magazine profile of Lourdes, Madonna's daughter, where she was like living in Bushwick and like she was like had rejected being a musician forever, and then she was like, I'm ready to be a pop star. And that was the last I ever heard. But I remember her saying she loved living in Bushwick because she could go on vacation because the rent was cheaper.
That's actually true.
Which I thought was really funny.
No, she snapped.
Wait,
I can't.
Did she bear these children, or was she like paying women to?
She adopted some.
Lourdes and Rocco.
No, that's
how much time do you have?
Who adopted?
Lourdes and Rocco are her biological children. Rocco is with Guy Ritchie, and Lourdes is with I'm forgetting his first name, but Leon is Lourdes' last name. And then after that, she started adopting.
How many? Hundreds.
Quite a few. Famously, she adopted children from Malawi, and she was doing a lot of charity work in Malawi.
Wait, so
she
Angelina
sort of put Malawi on the map.
She stole Madonna's thing.
It was around the same time, but I do think Madonna started doing it first.
Right. They're probably just racing there.
A bidding war. Should we do our first
Carlos
segment?
Leon is Lourdes' dad. Yes, let's do our first segment. Okay, Dash, our first segment is called Straight Shooters, and in this segment, we test your familiarity with and complicity in straight culture by asking you a series of rapid-fire questions where you have to choose this thing or this other thing. And the one rule is you can't ask any follow-up questions about how the game works. And if you do, I'm going to start playing some Madonna B-sides that are not going to sit well with you.
Well, I'm not worried because I'm going to ace this bitch.
Okay, Dash. Tuck everlasting or fuck that was long lasting?
That was good. Tuck everlasting because I like when the bitch falls out of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, solving the puzzle or sloshing in a puddle?
I think sloshing in a puddle.
Ooh, wow.
Because mess can be fun.
That's true.
Casting a wide net or fasting except for one baguette?
That's so gay. Which, by the way, no problem. Casting a wide net. Fishermen are fun.
Yeah. Okay.
By the sea.
Telling a dog to sit or telling your boss, I quit?
Really? Telling your boss I quit because I'm kind of anti-pet right now.
Oh, wow.
I get that.
Yeah.
We can circle back to that.
We can circle back to that.
I'm in that space. Harvard, Barnard, or Aardvark?
I'm thinking Aardvark.
Yeah.
There's something about Northeastern colleges that just doesn't sit right with me.
No, they should be in California.
Totally. Okay. Username taken, or I usually add bacon.
No. Username taken.
We are being surveilled, or we are skiing in Vail?
I love gang stalking right now, so I think we are being surveilled.
What's gang stalking?
I saw someone use it on Twitter. It's like people. It's like Q or something. Like people think they're being stalked.
Oh, well, we'll circle back. Okay, luck of the Irish or fuck off, I'm pissed.
Fuck off, I'm pissed.
Is pissed supposed to rhyme with Irish?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I'm
It's
pissed.
a slant rhyme.
I'm pissed.
Oh, I'm pissed. Irish.
Yeah.
Got it. That's good.
Yeah, well.
Okay, Dash. I actually think you did really well.
I think you did a really good job. I think, first of all, you treated that sort of as like a conversation starter. In a way that was interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and say 789 doves, which is huge out of 1,000. And I also want to say,
Sam, I know that's low. Keep going.
Well, if you're thinking we grade it linearly, then yes.
Right. Grade deflation is the thing here now.
Tell me about your pets theory.
Yeah, I want to know about pets. Okay. This is, of course, one of the most controversial subjects one could ever talk about on a podcast, because both pet people and anti-pet people are insane and not normal. Especially like pibby people or pit bull people, but we can't get into this at all because they will take you down. Okay, so my thing about pets, well, as somebody who still vaguely is in New York a lot and kind of, where no one knows.
Yeah, it's actually very confusing, I will say.
When you see me in your city, that's less an indicator that I live there and more that it's like an omen or something.
But, you're a canary in the coal mine, sort of.
Exactly. So you should run and prepare for the worst. There are too many dogs in New York. No worries. There are too many. There should be a lottery system where people lose their dogs. I think 50% fewer dogs in New York would be right. They're just too many, and they're in restaurants, which is like such an ordinary 2018 thing to complain about, but it's like, I'm kind of sick of it at this point. I like dogs. I don't like the people who own the dogs oftentimes. I also think people need to start doing like iguanas and shit like that. I don't know.
Well, this is the paintball Call of Duty jumping out, saying people should get iguanas, but...
Well, it's also like a more contained pet. And I think it would be a more interesting world if more...
But there's also dogs that need to be rescued. Thoughts?
That's such a good point. Release them in the wild.
I feel it's funny that you brought up New York, because I feel like LA is so the quintessential, like...
Oh yeah, I meant to circle back to that, yes.
There's a service dog in the restaurant that like clearly doesn't even allow dogs, but they put a little vest on it.
Yeah, and it's like biting like 3 people.
I literally...
and shitting in Proof Bakery, yeah.
I talked about this on the previous episode, but I watched this person order for roughly 25 minutes this morning at a restaurant. And
people will wait 40 minutes in line and then get to the front and then like sit in the lotus position and like meditate on their order for an almost impossible amount of time.
But this guy he had a dog with him, and he was holding the dog. He didn't even notice he was fully choking the dog, like holding it up to where it couldn't touch the ground, and it was like dangling by its neck for like minutes. And then his wife was like, Daniel, the dog is being choked. And he's like, oh my God, and set it down. And I was like, how can you be that unaware? You're like wasting upwards of 1 hour in this line, and then you're choking your dog at the big moment. It was so crazy. I've never seen such like lazy dog ownership.
How do you feel as a dog owner, Sam?
I feel that everyone is correct. I feel that I notice it more in LA. I think more people have dogs, but they also treat them more like children in a way that bothers me. I have my dad in me where I'm like, the dog is a dog. And you have to respect it and treat it right, but you also have to remember it's a dog.
Yeah, I sort of come out like feeling pretty zen about the whole thing, because I'm like, yes, I agree that I both agree that pet owners can be annoying, and I agree that people who are, fervently anti-pet need to take a chill pill and be grateful for what they have in their lives.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, ultimately the issue, as with everything, is that some people are very annoying, and they're going to be annoying when they have pets, and they're going to be annoying in other ways when they don't have pets. Like, get back to me when that person you think is an annoying dog owner no longer has a dog and then gets involved in local politics. Because let me tell you something, it is not going to be pretty. That personality has to go somewhere, and it's actually probably a form of harm reduction if it goes towards dog ownership than if it goes towards like city planning. I think this is not just with like, I think this is very much the case with like when people talk about influencers. It's like, yeah, those people would put that energy somewhere else if they weren't influencers hawking skincare products. Like they would be at the front desk at the airport and treating you like insane and not being able to like take simple directions to write them down because they're too busy like making OnlyFans content under the table or whatever.
Yeah, no, totally. Oh, well, I'm glad we circled back to that. Should we get into our topic?
Yeah, let's get into our topic. And actually, I like doing this. Dash, do you want to just, before we begin, go through your entire list just one by one? Because I think that can be a fun activity.
And end on the one that we're actually going to do, of course.
Yes, I'll end on that one.
Yes.
As someone who has kind of, I would say, a mastery of straight culture, kind of so far beyond what George and Sam have, I obviously pulled from my kind of tone. I'm kidding. I love you guys.
I mean, I do think you probably do know more about straight culture, and specifically straight American culture, than we do.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm kind of out in the field. You guys are kind of pontificating from your kind of ivory
we're armchair.
Yes.
We're a priori. What are the two things?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you get it.
Right. And I'm kind of like Jane Goodall.
Oh, yeah. You're with the monkeys.
I'm living amongst them. Etc. I'm kind of Marie Curie, kind of, with the plutonium.
I have a follow-up question when we circle back to this.
There's so much circling back happening. It's like a maze.
It's like David Foster Wallace, like endnotes. Just a little
Or
bit.
should I not circle back? Should I just ask you right now?
Ask.
Dash, how much of this is like, are you attracted to straight men?
I'm not.
So there's nothing about you that's like playing paintball with the boys and you get like a little bit hard every time.
You're not turned on by it. You just genuinely like...
It's completely pure within me.
Not even a little turned on.
No. Well, because the thing about straight guys, too, is a lot of them don't really, like, God bless them, of course. If any are listening, which they shouldn't be. Love you guys. They should be. I don't want to limit your audience.
They do, sadly, but not sadly. Sorry, I send my love out to every. I genuinely did not mean that. That was an instinct of some sort. I actually am very grateful when straight guys listen. But keep going.
I'm laying a ton of traps for you guys, and you're falling into all of them. They're just so non-sexual when they're like with the boys. A little bit that to be attracted to them would be hard. Does that make sense?
No.
Do you disagree?
I fully disagree. I think they're so non-sexual that it circles back and they become sexual again.
Right.
Like, and they just are doing it. They think they're in private. And so they're saying stuff that
it's the ultimate vulnerability.
They're showing things that you would never see otherwise.
Like what?
Like their ball sacks, brother.
That's actually true. Flash it, bring it back.
Yeah. No, there's a way where... not to be gender essentialist, but it's like for a woman to be vulnerable, it's in private and it's, she trusts her friend or her husband or her mother or her father and she like says something. But men are the most vulnerable when they are literally in public transportation. Like when they are at a football game, when they are at the tailgate, when they are like out with their wife at dinner. It's shocking. I actually think they are because they're so terrified of vulnerability, they're way more guarded when they are like alone with one or two people.
Yeah. If you can get them with the boys, you're seeing a real different side.
That's kind of
sometimes it's jarring, but sometimes it's hot.
That's why it's so, when you have kids, it's way more dangerous for boys to be in a big group together, whereas what's dangerous for girls is for them to be in like a group of 2 or 3 because then they'll start bullying each other. You know what I mean?
Well, so I feel like female vulnerability is them like talking about how they're like processing grief a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And it just feels very different when a guy is showing.
Whereas straight guys process grief by taking up 3 seats at like a football game and then taking out their penis and masturbating.
Yeah.
I remember when I moved to New York, one of my first times taking like the 2 train to work in the morning at like 7:45 a.m. There was a guy who like looked otherwise normal, like fully like rubbing himself under his pants on the train. And it really was like, I guess go on.
I mean,
that's awesome.
That'll happen.
Right.
Yeah, no, it took me a while to get flashed on the train. And when I did, I was like, wait, you're hot. This is so wild.
Sam.
I just couldn't have seen that coming.
There really are no limits to the things you will find horny.
I get it, bitch.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us your list now.
So my
list?
list?
Tell us your list.
Okay, this is abridged. Xbox Live,
Correct.
which we kind of got to touch on, which was kind of awesome for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Not to brag. Regional accents other than Southern.
Agreed.
Because I
Agreed.
feel like Sweet Home Alabama and like the gay guy in that who gets outed like 15 times, that made it gay to be Southern.
Well, also, I think
Southern is gay adjacent.
Southern is gay. Like, if
Yeah.
you do imagine someone with like just a big colorful shirt, just being like, "Oh, hey y'all," like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It is gay. Yeah.
It's gay.
It's I don't know what genteel is, but whatever it is, it feels okay.
There's a pageantry to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. No, there is. You're Paula Deen.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. And Cajun, they're so colorful. Anyway.
Yes.
Guitar solos.
Mhm.
Waiting outside in the car.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
classic.
Like moving to LA and realizing that every single person at the grocery store is a woman whose husband is like sitting in the passenger seat in the car.
Totally.
Huge culture shock. But now that I'm kind of used to
Yeah.
it, I like it.
Yeah.
The lengths straight men will go to not participate in something, like they would literally rather than just like go into the grocery store and like, hey, at the very least you'll stretch your legs, maybe you'll get a little protein bar. But no, it's like, well, I don't want to do that, so I have to be sitting in the car, or I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna like plan my entire day around not doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Sitting outside their like daughter's like piano recital.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
God, I should. When you have a kid, you should do that. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Third tier U.S. cities. So I'm thinking
Of
like
course.
Cincinnati.
Oh yeah. They're so. I'm actually like, if you know, we were in sort of a booming industry where you could get a random TV show to do whatever you want. Mine would absolutely be to. I want to go to those cities and find the local gay scenes and like see what they're about, because I'm addicted to third tier city gay people.
Totally. That would actually be a perfect travel show for you.
Oh, it'd be so fun.
Those gays are letting their freak flags like fly, and like they're all furries. Like 100% across the board, nose to tail.
They're the only people who are brave in this entire nation. They are living every day out loud in a way that we couldn't ever possibly imagine.
That could have been you if you like stayed in like Richmond or whatever.
Literally. And yet I didn't.
And you didn't, pussy bitch. Next one, prank calls.
I mean, this is a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hurting people for sport is always
Right.
difficult.
And also just like doing the most obvious thing in an attempt to be funny. Like there's just is something like to do. It's like, why not give it one more layer of thought? Okay, prank calls, maybe that's one. Why not something a little more like, I even think like leaving a fake letter is a little more imaginative than a prank call. Like there's just something so obvious about a prank call. Okay,
Wait, can I otherize you really quick, George?
please.
Do you guys do like ding dong ditching in Greece, or is that like not?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's also like,
It's a great question, Dash.
yeah, I don't know. Do they do that everywhere in America? I think that's
Yes.
like, they do?
Place
Everywhere.
where there is somebody under the age of 18, they are
They're ringing doorbells.
yes at 3 a.m.
Yeah. And they're running.
running or walking.
Yeah, that's true.
I would like strut away. Anyway,
Well, that's because you're a bad boy.
right.
You want to get
I also
caught.
think like TPing a house is adjacent to prank calls. It's just like, what is the most obvious thing we can do to make someone's life hell?
No, sometimes I'm like, the fact that I TP'd houses in high school, I'm like, I was living in like a movie about America.
You
Like, it's
did that?
literally the boys cross country team would TP the girls cross country team and vice versa.
That's insane.
Yeah, I also did.
I only know that from film and TV.
It's so wild that it was real, and it was like the best nights of my entire life because I was
Which is
like,
also how I feel about prom. I'm like, it's crazy. Like, I get starstruck when people actually show me prom photos of them. I'm like, oh my God, this is just like Mean Girls.
There was a boy at my high school who was a fucking loser, all love, who got TP'd, I think, 5 nights in a row.
Oh
by,
my
different
God.
groups each time.
wow.
Sad.
Wow.
Can I tell
He
you
was
my
sort of the Bill de Blasio of your high school, in that like people of all different political stripes were like, he fucking sucks.
Right.
But of course, now we miss him. Go ahead.
Wasn't he
I-
like 6'7" too, which was kind of
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, and he loved the Y.
Yes.
I once was watching Saturday Night Live, and my friends in high school knocked on my window to get me to go TP, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go TP with you. And guess what? it was the night that Ashley Simpson was lip syncing, and so I missed it. To go teepee with the boys.
God, that sucks. That's like how I missed the slap because I was tired and left the Oscars party early.
Oh my God. It's just so unfair.
Oh my God. That really does suck.
Okay, keep going with the list.
She got like Yas Queen redeemed a little bit, right, Ashley?
Yeah, she got Yas Queen redeemed.
She got Yas Queen redeemed. Oh, can I tell you my other thing that's like you missing Ashley Simpson? At Coachella, for whatever reason, I went to see like David Guetta or something, but I was like passing by. Like it was not like my dream to see David Guetta. It was like I was passing by the stage and he was playing.
Honest here.
He was playing he was like DJing or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is sort of fun. Obviously not in a altered headspace, as you can imagine. And then some vocal came on and it sounded like the mic, like it sounded like there was an issue with the speaker or something. And I couldn't quite see what was going on. So I was like, whatever, let's just go. We're going to Bon Iver. And turns out it was quite literally Rihanna making a special guest appearance. And so if I had stayed for one more second, I would have seen that Rihanna came on and did a song. And I had no idea. I was literally like, I'm leaving. This sucks.
What a bummer.
Wasn't it like a good song, though? She has like 3.
She has like one with... First of all...
She has 1 million. You're being such a bitch.
Dash, this goes back to your pop culture thing. Rihanna has so many songs. That's like they are all
she's got
famous.
Umbrella. She's got the one where she has the eyebrows.
No,
what was that one?
No, she has so many songs.
She has so many songs.
What is her song with David Guetta? It's like one of the big ones.
Is that it's not S&M, is it?
Is it This Is What You Came For?
No. Rihanna.
Oh, you know what? It's actually not a good one. I think it's...
Who's that chick?
Who's that chick?
Yeah, no, I hate that song.
Who's that chick? Can I say my number one pop song of this year that people don't respect me because I like it?
Sure.
Who?
Camila Cabello's I Love It. Really good. And
so here's the thing.
Real.
Sam, have you noticed that there is an underbelly of gay guys that are team Camila Cabello?
Yeah.
It's something I haven't...
An underbelly?
Yes.
Underbelly is the wrong term, maybe. But no, it's kind of
right.
I
think it's right.
That's right. It's a... There's something, and I don't say this about you. I say this about the general... about the general population of gay guys that are into Camila Cabello. There's something a bit like... We ride at dawn. Like they all like live underground and they are trading little burned CDs with our album and like recruiting people, and at some point they will do an insurrection at the Grammys.
Right.
I know this is our fault for interrupting, but finish your list and then let's get into the topic.
Yes. Let's see, Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one.
Kind of like voyaging down there, The Thing, working down there over a winter. Riley Taggart.
It's my brother.
Right, Sam's younger brother, who I actually knew before Sam.
That's true.
And so Sam will forever be Riley's older brother to me. The only person who will ever bring a 12-pack of Natty Light to a party.
My brother?
Your brother.
That.
Yeah, no, he'll roll up.
Little king. Dying at a restaurant.
This was a favorite of mine.
I really
actually
like
don't even think we need to comment anymore. I think it's clear.
You're such a hater. Okay, the Balkans.
Wait, how am I a hater? I'm like supporting your topic.
We don't need to talk about this anymore.
Oh, I'm just trying to like, keep the ball rolling.
I know. Oh, I want the villain edit.
You're getting it, bitch.
Yeah, bitch. The Balkans.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't really know where that is, but I celebrate them.
It's next to Greece. It's kind of
well, depending on who you ask,
it is like the impure countries next to Greece.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's not necessarily how I would frame it.
Is there racism between Greece and the Balkans?
I mean, there's certainly racism between Greece and Albania, but it's like Albania, Serbia, Croatia, like it's those
North
countries.
Macedonia. Yeah, can you rank your least favorite countries from that region?
I will not do that, Dash.
Okay, next one on the list.
Yeah. And finally, actually, breaking a bone.
Okay, and this is our topic.
And this is our topic. And now, Dash, I would love to invite you to tell us what is straight about breaking a bone.
Right. Okay. Well, the kind of seed of this idea was the image of somebody you were in middle school or high school with coming to class on crutches because they broke a bone. So that's kind of the origin point of that. But if you really think about it, the activities that you must be doing, unless you're a fucking loser who like falls down the stairs, the activities you must be doing in order to break a bone are like sports, usually extreme sports, or like basketball, something that's like, you know, I would say very hetero.
I want
snowboarding.
I want to take that to another level too, where it's like not only are you doing the sports where you could break a bone, but you're someone who is like, I'm not scared to do something like, because I skateboarded in high school. I liked skateboarding, but I was never
like ollie.
I could ollie. Oh, I was dropping in, riding around. But I was like never like, you know, doing an indie grab 360. Like I was just like, well, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. And you also only get good enough by taking those risks. But like, I was like, always like, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it as cautiously and safely as possible. And I think it's very straight to be like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it big. And like, I'm not going to do it safely. And it's
no
sort
pads.
of no pads
or whatever.
Yeah. And that like that fearlessness to me is very straight, I would argue.
I agree.
Yeah, trusting that a risk could pay off. It does feel very
100%. I mean, it is the foundation of like a sort of business mindset too. Like that trusting a risk can pay off is like what startup culture is. It is saying, I have an idea. It is self-evidently stupid. And yet, what if it's the next Facebook?
And God forbid, this also undergirds improv as well.
100%.
Well,
which is why
childcare even. I mean,
wait,
I think
child care or childbearing?
Childbearing. I think if you like have a child, like to me,
you're absolutely
the biggest hurdle of children is like, that's insane. Like
you're absolutely
that's a person. I can't be in charge of a person until the day I die. And
the blind confidence of being like, we are creating life and it's literally going to be fine.
It'll be fine. Well, it'll all work out. It's like I that is really hard to wrap my head around.
Or like the French parenting method when like the baby's crying and it's like been 2 months and they're like, we're just going to let it cry itself to sleep or whatever. And then just trusting that it won't like die of like SIDS or whatever the fuck.
I think, unfortunately, I would be good at that. I would be like, yeah, whatever. Make as much noise as you want. I'm out.
So, all right. I think there's something very... You're transported to high school. You're imagining the crutches. You're also imagining someone coming in with a cast that people are signing. Someone... You know, it's the week before the big game and someone gets injured and then you don't win the big soccer final with the other team. You don't win regionals. It's a very like breaking a bone is something that happens in high school and then it happens again when you're literally old and like have a fall. Both of which are very straight. High school is straight. Being a senior citizen is straight.
When you see a gay guy with like a broken foot or something,
you don't see that, Sam.
I've seen one.
Yeah, you're like, was he trying to stick that up someone's ass?
Yeah.
Well, it literally makes me sad in like a grand way where I'm like, oh no, you're not supposed to do this.
Why were you jumping off of that? Is she going to jump from there?
Yeah. You don't love yourself. And so you broke your foot.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to say something else about the visual of seeing someone with a broken bone, whether it's crutches, whether it's wheelchair, whether it's cast. It is this incredibly cruel, immediate signifier of whether you are cool or uncool, because there is a way you can look cool with a broken bone, as in you are a badass and you survived breaking a bone, and there's a way you can look like a complete klutz loser, like look at this stupid bitch with the glasses, she can't even walk. And so she like fell down. She was like holding so many books and like talking to her mom on the phone because she needed her inhaler, and so she fell down the stairs. Like it is, there is something. It's like, is your narrative one of perseverance? You survived the fall, or is your narrative one of defeat? You fell.
And the latter, it's definitely like if you have a scooter, you're the latter, typically.
Yeah.
Like if you need that much assistance and you're not able to kind of like Jack London style, like grin and bear it, yeah, you're bitch made. I went through a rock climbing phase as a way to honor the kind of the white half of the family.
Jesus Christ, it
the
really
heritage.
is. It's nonstop.
I know.
It's nonstop with you.
nonstop.
And I was at a gym here in LA that is, by the way, one of the worst gyms I've ever been to in my entire life, bar none. Dogs everywhere. No offense.
What's it called?
They're rock climbing.
Okay.
Don't be going there. Anyway, I was climbing with like some
get them. Get
randos.
that small business.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of chains. Like, let's see you operate at scale and then we'll talk, you know? I just
Fair.
It's like, get over yourself. Anyway, I was climbing with like a couple randos there, and we were like on a relatively kind of difficult, quote unquote, I think like project or whatever the fuck. And a guy like slipped off when he was trying to do it. By the way, he worked there. He slipped off and landed on his foot like fully sideways, and the sound of his bone, his like ankle bone like fracturing or whatever, there's such a visceral like element of disgust with a broken bone too, where it's not just like the image afterward.
100%.
It's like when it's happening, it is so grotesque in a way that I think like people talk about how gay shit or whatever is like grotesque, like ew, anal, but it's like the things that straight people do and experience can like birth, Madonna, can be so much grosser.
Totally. Just to be clear, gay people can give birth.
Right.
And straight people can have anal
sometimes.
sex.
And straight people can have anal sex, of
That's
course.
not
But
true.
for the sake of this podcast, it is true that we put things in buckets. Sam, you were about to say something.
I guess that is so gross to me that I can't. I'm having trouble.
I know, I can't even
discussing that.
contemplate it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's
Do
like
you want to hear more details?
No. It's like the worst thing in a horror movie for me is any type of bone breaking, any type of like showing. I'm literally not even going to utter the words, but like,
I mean, in Challengers, when Zendaya breaks her
Exactly.
knee, I'm like, oh god, this sucks.
yeah. And I think the fact that straight people get a sort of kick out of that, no pun intended.
Oh, you mean
is-
like Scarred, like on MTV?
Even
There's a
just
whole show
like,
about that. Yeah.
even frankly, Jackass. Like literally, the Jackass symbol is two crutches.
so true.
Like,
And
it's
nobody's
just-
ever pointed that out before to me.
It's just like it's a very straight guy thing to be like fascinated with breaking bones and with injury overall.
I want to know what your guys' greatest injuries are.
Oh no.
I did suffer a radial head fracture of my elbow when I was skateboarding.
Does that
Get
count?
this, the age of 25.
Wow.
Which
Does that
is
count as a
bit old
broken
to be
bone?
breaking a bone? I think it technically counts, but the thing is, it was like a grade like 1 or whatever, so I actually didn't really need to do anything. I just had to like put it in like kind of like a makeshift, not even like a cast, but like kind of like a sling thing. And it made typing a fucking bitch for sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
And being on the subway and not having like one half of my body available to like grab onto shit or whatever, I was flying. I was injuring hundreds of other passengers.
My worst injury was I was probably 7 or 8 or maybe even younger, and my mom brought home a sausage pierogi, which is a sort of corn dog type thing. Imagine a corn dog but without the stick, like sweet donut on the outside, sausage on the inside. And my mouth was watering just thinking about it. That was one of my favorite possible baked goods from a bakery when I was a kid. And I got
This is when
so
you were
excited.
in Greece, not New Jersey.
In Greece, yes. I got so excited that I ran to the stairs so hard and these were marble, like pointy stairs, that I essentially started from the top of the stairs, like somersaulting down until I got to the bottom and landed flat on my face. I was covered in blood, and they had to put me in the bathtub so that they could like get all the blood, like rinse the blood out to see where it was coming from, because all you could see was just blood everywhere. It was like it was not clear if I had injured like my back, my head, my elbow, like, and so they were just like hosing me down until enough blood disappeared so they could see where it was, and it was in the back of my head. I still have 2 little bald spots on my head from the stitches, and then they had to take me to the hospital, and I got head stitches.
Well,
A neurosurgeon went in there, and
A neurosurgeon went in there, and they gave me a whole new brain.
yeah, they turned their sleigh settings on.
Yeah. What was yours, Sam?
I got a concussion playing dodgeball in 6th grade. I played dodgeball really seriously, and I would like train when I got home. I was really, really committed to being good at dodgeball.
What was training entailing?
So me and my friend would throw the ball at each other and practice like catching it, and like throw it as hard as we could, and then try to catch it.
Is this with the red ball? Like the big bouncy one, or like foam?
I think it was with the bouncy. It was with the bouncy ones.
Yeah.
And this one time I was playing dodgeball and I was running to get the ball, and it was next to a brick wall, and I got there, and then somebody else got there right after me and ran into me, and I ran into the wall. And I got a concussion. And I remember I had to leave the Johnny Appleseed presentation because I was nauseous from my concussion. And then I went to the hospital and blah, blah, blah.
How long were you at the hospital? Months.
Just for a touch.
Relearning how to walk.
Then I went home and sort of watched the Pokemon movie, and then I was like, I actually feel fine. Then I got up and tried to run up the stairs and immediately started throwing up again. And I was like, oh, I guess I have to like really take this easy. But I was I got to miss my presentation on Egypt, so that was cool.
Why was that cool?
Well, because I didn't,
Egypt?
I wasn't prepared.
Okay.
And
you were
then I
too
was
busy
like,
practicing dodgeball.
and the teacher was like, yeah, I guess you don't have to do it. And I was like, awesome.
Wow, all our injuries were so representative of our cultural backgrounds.
Right.
Well, George's palace marble stairs.
Say, sliding down marble. It's like
it's not even marble. I actually should not have said marble. These were outdoor stairs. They were like, I guess like stone would be the right material. Imagine like gray rocks that were like
granite.
Carved.
They were granite.
Granite.
Stairs.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. They were
how
granite
many stairs. Like 200, 300.
Yeah,
like one flight of stairs. And I'm obviously exaggerating that I fell from like the very, very top, but like I would say probably halfway, I tripped somewhere halfway, and then I started going. And I remember my mom trying to figure out what was happening, and she was like, how did this happen? I won't be mad. Just tell me, like, did you try to skip a step? Like, did you just to like figure out like where the injury, and I genuinely, all I did was just go fast because I was excited to eat. But then she kept going, so I had to lie, and I was like, yeah, I tried to skip a step.
She's like, well, now your insurance claim is void.
Exactly. Yeah.
We had to flee Greece.
Yes, exactly.
Chasing your ass. You go.
Well, that's one of the most sad things about when you're a child is when you do something stupid and they're like, but what did you do? And you're like, no, I was just overly excited or overly emotional.
A kid. Yeah.
I tilted back in my chair and hit my head on the edge of like the bed frame in my sister's room and had to get stitches also. It like wasn't as bad as yours, but it was like...
Wait, so all of ours are head related?
Well, that's how they turn the sleigh switch on.
Wait, so they literally all of us have brain damage, and that's why we're gay podcasters. Like it's like literally 5 years into doing this, we suddenly realize that like the reason for all of it is that we have brain damage.
Like numerous lobes just missing, completely deactivated. But I like told my mom, she was like, how did you split your head open? And I think I tried to tell her like it just happened, which imagine a world in which that could just happen to you.
Yeah. You
scary.
Though really did do the one thing they tell you not to do, which is lean your chair back.
It was it was like an all-American kind of injury for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say something that I still have from childhood that is the sort of victim, like I think we're doing it even now, but victim blaming when kids break their bones. Like when kids broke their bones in school, I was like, well, yeah, you would. Like
it's a moral failing.
Yeah. It's a moral failing, and you're the type of person who will break a bone. And still to this day, I'm like, well, yeah, you're the bone breaking type. Like, I would never break a bone because I'm sensitive and thoughtful.
Right. Nobody in the honors classes was doing that. Like, let's be completely honest. None of these listeners are having experienced that.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe I don't need to fix that in myself.
Right. Well, yeah, the prospect of having to like deal with insurance too, like I just wouldn't get the bone fixed. I would find a way to move on with my life.
Yeah, your arm is just like dangling.
Yeah. And it's like kind of becomes like a stylistic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like having a little Susan Sontag gray streak, but it's just like your arm is dangling from your body. It's like, oh yeah, he's just like artistic.
Yeah, this fall is all about exposed bone.
Oh yeah, when the bone comes out of the skin too.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, this is it's like, Yeah, this is what I can't do. I had a really difficult time during the horror porn phase of the early 2000s during the Saw movies.
Oh, Hostel. Yeah.
Hostel.
Yeah.
Oh, did you not watch like 127 Hours then?
No, see,
I
I
didn't
can't
watch
do that.
either.
Yeah. With who was that?
James Franco. Talk about a straight movie. Like, that is
Yeah.
a fucking straight guy's wet dream, is watching a movie where one male identified individual breaks his arm, and that's it.
And also, like, a male-identified individual who had been sleeping with college freshmen at like 5 different.
Oh, that's fine.
Actually, you're so right.
Ugh.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts about bone breaking?
You guys should try it.
Breaking a bone?
I'm scared. I think it actually is like something that I think I might be able to go my whole life without doing.
Because you live like a pussy bitch.
Because I live like a pussy bitch.
Right. Well, you don't take
I also
risks.
sort of live like a pussy bitch.
Right. Well, George, you still live in New York City, and so you could easily be hit by a car,
Fall down the subway track.
fall down the subway, onto the track, get ran over by the,
Yeah.
break your leg that way or whatever happens.
I mean, I will say because I'm pretty risk averse when it comes to physical activity. And I worry that it is preventing me from having certain experiences. Like, even when people are like, we hiked Machu Picchu, I'm like, I would die.
George, hiking is walking.
Hiking is walking. That's
Well, Machu
important to
Picchu
remember.
is a mountain.
Right, but you're walking up it.
Right. What makes you scared of Machu Picchu? Is it the kind of native quality?
Yeah, is
What
it
if
racial?
you-
Is it
What
racial?
if
Is it because
what
they're
if you
kind of my
take
people?
what if you
I say it's
trip
from
and then
north
you're in the
America.
middle of a mountain and you're injured?
Slide down the mountain, bitch.
Get airlifted.
Or they have helicopters.
Get airlifted.
Okay.
I love
Well, yeah, right.
helicopters.
So I want to avoid being injured on a helicopter, I guess is what I'm saying.
If we can go gay for a second, you know who really served recently? That bitch
Who?
who was under the helicopter and who was spinning like a billion
cow?
times. No, the woman.
The woman.
Oh.
There's one where a woman does it.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like Arizona. And she
Oh,
literally...
yeah, it was like an older woman, right?
Yeah,
she,
no, it's
sued,
iconic.
And it's like, bae, don't sue. Like, that was such a serve.
They made you
God,
a
that
star.
I
Could have sold merch.
The
Yes.
image of that doesn't the image of that like take you back to like the good days?
a more innocent time.
You know what I mean?
Biden
Like, it's
had,
like-
kind of just been elected. It was
Like a meme, like a meme like that. You're like, oh God, if only that's like I could wake up in the morning, log into my Chrome browser and be faced with the woman spinning around.
Yeah, we need more slapstick like
yeah.
tragedies, which Breaking Bone kind of is. But we need more of that coming up, and less like I feel like I see all like tweets that are like referencing 40,000 other online kind of touchstone moments of the past like
No, we
2
need to go
days.
back to physical comedy.
Yes,
No, in a
slapstick
big way. In a big
people
way.
We need
falling.
slipping on a banana peel.
We need
you know-
grape bitch. Who was the bitch who fell down when she was like stomping the grapes, and then she kept going ooh 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 ooh. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember this.
Kind of
this
vaguely.
bitch.
That
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
And then she like totally disappeared from public life.
Well,
Oh.
because you bullied her by calling her grape
No,
bitch.
I was celebrating her.
I miss-
For me, bitch is honorific.
I miss news bloopers. That to me is the peak of comedy.
Yeah. I like
here's the
a
thing-
mega doo-doo.
Yeah, Dee Dee Mega Doo Doo.
Yeah.
This is what sucks about our current media environment is like it used to be a special thing to see like bloopers or like a gag reel, and now everything is bloopers and a gag reel, and it's no longer special.
No, you're right.
We need
You're
the
right.
America's
default.
Funniest Home Videos was
Exactly.
good for us. That needed to be like the exception, not the rule. And
Exactly.
The rule of every piece of media is that.
No, every single piece of media is America's Funniest Home Videos, and you're sort of like, this is bad for culture. Actually, the default should be a polished, well-made product, and then as like catharsis, occasionally we can look at bloopers. Occasionally we can see like, we can have a movie like The Room that's celebrated for being so bad it's good, but that can't be everything.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Well, actually, and can we wrap this back around to like a thesis statement about kind of this
Please.
podcast and straight culture in general?
Okay.
Is I feel like one thing that's actually awesome, because you guys, I think I like straight culture and see it as kind of a virtuous and moral thing, whereas you guys are kind of, huge haters, no problem.
I
And
actually
I
don't think that's
we're
true.
huge haters.
I know.
I think we celebrate it, but keep going.
You guys are lying to yourselves. Okay, so my thing about that is I feel like one thing that's awesome about straight culture is they are not always in on the joke.
Yes.
there's a sincerity there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're like doing things without the idea that they're like being watched or that they're like doing it to like create an image for like sex or whatever. Like I feel like a lot of what queer people do is like, I don't know. There's always like the image of like, how will this help me get it in? Or like, how will this help me kind of like establish who I am and like my identity? Whereas straight people are just like going to like, I don't know, like Pittsburgh Steelers games. Like they're just like doing stuff. They're having weird interests. And it's, like,
there's no undertones, no subtext. It's literally just like, I am doing this, period.
Yes.
Every straight person is a gay person from a third tier city.
Yes.
In that they're just like living out loud.
They're like completely unself-aware, and they're just
triumphant.
Like, I'm myself. I am me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they don't feel embarrassed ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yes.
And that's awesome. And I think so much of like the exhaustion that everybody has with like all forms of media right now is because people aren't willing to be the change they need in the world, which is to like have fewer thoughts, do fewer things with like hidden intent about like personal role and stuff.
I see.
Identity. Everybody just needs to be watching more NFL games. Yes. By the way, I'm cognizant that you guys we're recording this during NFL Sunday.
I
was not cognizant of that fact.
So would you be watching football if it wasn't for this right now?
Yeah, bitch. That's what I did on Thanksgiving too.
Oh my!
It was amazing.
God.
What is your deal? I'm like mad at you.
What the hell is your problem?
I just explained my thesis, which totally explained my deal. I think
so. You're watching all of this because you want to just feel like straightforwardly happy without having to deal with subtext.
Yes, and also NFL is like football is fun to watch.
It's like literally not fun to watch.
Fact check.
Like,
false.
I went kind of George and Sam mode last night and watched Queer by
Luca Guadagnino.
Have you guys
How is
seen
it?
By the way,
no, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either. I've heard it's bad.
Wait, yeah. Do you guys do honesty on this podcast, or should I like?
You can do honesty.
We do honesty if people we know are involved.
Yeah. Do you guys know Luca?
Yeah, Luca's pretty tight with both of us, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, anyway, my thing about that movie. Too much subtext. The one thing I liked about it, we should all be smoking inside restaurants.
Of course.
That was cool, and that connected with me from the movie. But aside
Was
from
there
that,
fucking?
Yeah, there was a lot of fucking.
Well, that's fun.
So that's text.
A decent amount.
Did you see Wiener?
Yeah, you see Flaccid.
Oh, I love Flaccid.
It was
I like Flaccid too, and I get Flaccid culture.
First of all, I get Flaccid.
I get Flaccid. I'm actually, my default is erect, and then sometimes if I'm like especially turned off, I'll get Flaccid.
Yeah.
But not to sound like a horny auga man, but I'm like, how about sometimes we do show erect?
Right.
Like,
well,
why is it, what is the whole thing? Why is it so much more pornographic?
Right.
I mean, I get why, but why is it so much more pornographic to show erect? Like, how about you have grow some balls and show erect?
Well, and with the grower-shower dichotomy, too, it's actually almost more vulnerable to show Flaccid.
100%.
Well, I also think I think the issue is that film people don't know what like an erect penis should look like, because first of all, for flaccid penises, they use prosthetics and make them gigantic for no reason.
Gigantic, yeah.
So for them to show an erect penis, it would be like about 2 feet long, because they would be like, well, it has to look impressive, and it's like on the flaccid we showed
like
being
a Marvel cock.
yeah, and it's like you could just show like normal flaccid and then normal erect, but they're like, but it's a movie, it has to be gigantic at all times, and I'm like, calm down.
It's just a lot of decisions that they have to make, like what way is it going to curve, you know?
But I am like, how about you just base it on a real dick, and actually maybe even just the actor's dick?
Yeah,
like,
how
maybe
about
we
the
just
actor
see the
shows
actor's
his
hard
dick, and how about we all grow up for a second and we stop making prosthetic penises?
Let's get rid of intimacy coordinators and just let the actor's truth shine through.
I mean, not to be a bitch, but yes. I'm like, enough.
No, I don't listen. I think if intimacy coordinators are protecting vulnerable parties, then I'm all for it. What I don't actually care about is reading interviews about intimacy coordinators. Like the way that over the last 3 years, every fucking movie that comes out, I have to read about the specifics of how everyone got along with the intimacy coordinator. I should not even know what that is. That is a workplace thing. That is like me working at a newspaper and going out and doing an interview tour about how our copy editor is really nice.
Also, I think intimacy coordinator is like sort of HR vibes, where it's like it only exists to protect the company. It doesn't exist to protect the actors.
Yes.
Well, so it kind of pisses me off.
But sometimes actors are so powerful that they are a company, and that's where things get complicated.
Oh, that is where things get complicated.
You know what I mean?
Isn't every actor a company? Because of like LLCs.
Well, that's true.
Well, of course.
Right.
But some of them aren't.
Anyone who's someone is a company.
Anyone who's someone is a company.
You guys have companies.
Well, needless to say.
You better believe we do.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wait, do you
I actually pay Sam as a contractor because we could only connect one of our companies to the Patreon.
Yeah. So I'm George's employee.
Sam is technically my employee.
Sam pays all the taxes and then you just kind of don't have to?
No, we both
I actually think
taxes.
I pay all the taxes.
I pay taxes on what you pay me.
I know, I'm kidding.
I got away with saying that. Anyway.
So basically we've brought culture to its knees.
Yes.
And I think this episode will give people a lot to chew on this holiday season. I think people should play this with their families and sort of have a discussion group afterwards and see where everyone stands.
Would you like to break a bone?
Yeah. Would you like to break a bone? Do you believe there should be intimacy coordinators? Do you want to be, should you get into Call of Duty or should you have a child?
Right.
Stuff like this. Let's do our final segment, which is called Shoutouts. And in this segment, we pay homage to the grand straight tradition of the radio shout out and just shout out anything that we enjoy. People, places, things, ideas. We make them up on the spot. And George, do you have one?
Hello, healthy California locavore eaters. I want to give a shout out to a salad I made from the cookbook 6 Seasons that is called, get this, it is called The Kale Salad That Started It All. Now, if you don't hear that and immediately want to go out and buy this book, I don't know what to tell you, but it is quite frankly the kale salad that started it all. I have never had good luck making kale salad myself because I find that I'm not really sure what massaging is, and it always tastes way more bitter than when you get it at a restaurant. But this recipe really just was a breath of fresh air. It was so simple. And I also want to give a sub shout out to something that I did to slightly alter it, which is that rather than making breadcrumbs, I took panko and I pan fried it with some butter and olive oil and some garlic actually, and just made this like crunchy these crunchy little deep fried panko bits that just add a bit of texture to an otherwise simple kale salad. So I just want to encourage everyone out there to make a simple kale salad and to add some garlicky panko bits to it. And, you can have a giant bowl of it and just sort of put in a giant Ziploc bag and have it for every meal for 3 days like I did. You can supplement it with other things. You can crack an egg on top. Just raw is fine. And so shout out to the 6 Seasons cookbook and shout out to the kale salad that started it all.
Woo!
The kale salad that started it all.
I have a shout out what is up, freaks, losers, perverts, and most importantly, family men? I want to give a huge shout out to when you leave a holiday and immediately go to the Eagle or a similar seedy bar in your town. I think there is nothing more exciting than coming back from a family visit, having the wholesome energy of the family, and then being like, you know what? I'm going to run in the complete opposite direction as quickly as I possibly can, and I'm going to go to the Eagle and I'm going to commit to it. I find it to be, I feel more equilibrium than I ever do after a full family visit and then an Eagle trip. I feel like I'm myself. I am two people in one body. I contain multitudes and I am free, essentially. So I can't recommend it enough. Go see your family and then be as bad as you want because you've earned it. And that's my shout out. XOXO. Woo! Sam.
Dash.
Bitch.
Go.
Me? Okay. Folks, sup pimps and players and gals across the contiguous United States, I'd like to give a huge shout out to gas station treats, bitch. I'm talking Hubba Bubba Bubble Tape Sour Blue Raspberry, 6 feet of fun. Let's say that. Zyn. I got some Zyn pouches. I consider this
No,
candy.
do not eat that.
How dare you interrupt a shout out, bitch? I'm eating this, I'm chewing it, and honey, I'm swallowing, bitch.
Wow.
I will simply say that. Slim Jims, everything that's sold at the gas station is something I am putting in my body. You can trust. And I feel energetic. I feel stronger than I ever have before. I recently got really back into Hershey's cookies and cream bars, which I later found out have over 600 grams of sugar in them. I'm gonna have like ultra diabetes by end of Q4, bitch. And I'm completely good with that. And I don't have any regrets, and I don't live like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. 2 words, I love it.
Wow. The final provocation is you shouting out gas station snacks after an entire episode of talking about how you rather be watching football and how you don't know if Madonna has multiple kids.
Right.
To end on endorsing gas station snacks.
Well, you can live off of gas station food for months and be healthier than you would otherwise.
That is not true.
Well, maybe our bodies are built different. I don't know. I wasn't bitch made, so.
Fair. That's why you've never broken a bone.
These bones don't break.
These bones don't break.
No?
These American bones don't break. That's actually the new catchphrase. The new tagline of StraightioLab is "These American bones don't break."
Damn.
Wow.
Well, Dash, this has been a real treat. Thanks for coming on the show.
It was a joy to bring so much nuance and beautiful thought.
And it was a joy to
podcast that is
consume
otherwise
it.
so crude. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I think people, this will change minds and hearts.
Totally.
Right. I completely agree, of course.
Well,
All right. Bye.
Have fun at the Bell House, bitch.
Thanks, bitch.
StraightioLab is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players Network and iHeart Podcasts.
Created and hosted by George Civeris and Sam Taggart.
Executive produced by Will Ferrell, Han Sani, and Olivia Aguilar.
Co-produced by Bei Wang.
Edited and engineered by Adam Avalos.
Artwork by Michael Fales and Matt Grubb.
Theme music by Ben Kling.